Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about having feelings on a very emotional and deeper level.
What are those feelings? Good.
Mm.
They're good. They feel good and they are good. So I think you get it. I don't think anything more needs to be said.
Well, let's be clear. They're also great, and they do feel great. We're here to discuss the penultimate episode of Golden Bachelor Season 2, Fantasy Suites, where Mel gets to really dive deep into his great feelings about his final two women. And before we get into that, a little housekeeping. If you missed our episode about the first Golden Bachelor, Gary Turner's golden memoir entitled Golden Years, you can scroll back in the feed and check that out. We had a lot of thoughts. We also released an episode about season 9 of Selling Sunset over on Rich Text. You can find that episode and more at claireandemma.substack.com. So
let's get into it. It's our cold open, the waves are crashing, and Cindy and Mel are having a serious discussion. She asks Mel how he sees the potential for their relationship, and he says that no matter what, it would have to develop over time. But if there's a will, there's a way.
Cindy says that begs the question, is there a will? And I love to see that she's asking the questions that need to be asked here, because it really does kind of raise that question.
Mel looks panicked.
Yeah, I mean, as we see later in the episode, this is a cliffhanger. And so there's a very good chance that next week's episode will start with him just sort of briefly pausing and then being like, absolutely.
I don't know. I'm prepared for drama. I'm ready. We will have to wait a whole week. But first, we flash back to Mel driving around Antigua because they are in Antigua. They are traveling to somewhere tropical and lovely for the finale. And they are staying at the Hammock Cove Resort and Spa, which Mel pronounces like the Hammock Cove Resort and Spa.
He's saying it like he's going to have to do us another take if he doesn't hit every single consonant on that perfectly.
And he probably did.
He's probably had to
take 15.
They're like, no, it's not Hammock Cove. Let's take that one again with a little pause. He clearly like struggles a little bit with this sort of thing. And so they're having him clearly read off of cue cards all of the important excitement generating phrases about the location, like, wow, everything's special in Antigua. It's tropical paradise.
It's truly incredible the amount of monotone that Mel is able to deploy in these instances that are supposed to convey enthusiasm for a location. But they finally had to move on. He's like, it could be the perfect place to fall in love. And I'm going to say he sounds unconvinced.
This is as strong of a statement about love as they're going to get out of Mel, I think, this season.
I know. They even call in Jesse Palmer, and he like can't do it.
So Mel tells us that it's Fantasy Suites week, and he has two women left who are amazing in their own ways. Cindy has told him that she's falling in love. Peg has not. He has to make an impossible choice between two incredible women, but he's looking forward to getting some off-camera time, and not just for physical reasons.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
He's like, intimacy is a connection on a more emotional and deeper level. I love that at the point when they started to like openly acknowledge sex on the fantasy suites, they immediately had to all get very defensive about how they're not just having sex in the fantasy suites. And now every season we have to have this whole scene where the lead is like, I don't just want to fuck in the fantasy suite. Look, we're also going to have deep conversations because that matters too. I care also, a lot about conversations.
We all know that's like the only place you can have a lot of real conversations.
Yeah, no, we know you're going to have deep conversations. Okay?
You're going to be like, what is your net worth?
Right.
What is your tax situation?
Who did you vote for in the last 3 elections? And please specify some of your down ticket choices as well.
Exactly. You have to have the important conversations off camera.
So Jesse Palmer meets Mel on the beach in UFOs. He's now a convert. They throw a football around a little bit because they both like football and
used to play it.
And look, they're still playing. Look at them. Some things just don't change. After some more extended UFOs promo, which the scene is mostly about the UFOs, Jesse is like, these are for recovery. I can wear them while I snorkel. They finally stop talking about their shoes and sit down to have a beer and chat. Like, did they already get some sort of deal with this shoe
I
brand?
mean, they must have, because the amount of time spent on the UFOs in this scene, like you gotta be extracting some monetary value to
Or
do
they're like,
that.
Mel, we're gonna throw you a nice setup, a nice off ramp. You're
Yeah,
gonna
that'd
have a
be
beautiful
really,
brand
really
partnership.
kind, honestly.
Maybe he's demanding it in exchange for telling one of the women that he has feelings stronger than good for one of them. He's like, I will say that I feel great about her if. So they talk about Mel's final two over a beer. Cindy was the first out of the limos. Right off the bat, Mel thought, wow, she's very romantic. She's very affectionate. She's in tune with how Mel feels. She makes every moment count. There's a lot of emotional connections along the way, he
He's
says.
always saying things like this. Like,
They're
there
there.
are connections, there are emotions, they're there.
They're along the way. It's like they're the scenery. You're observing them through the window as you pass through.
Like, Mel, can you describe that scenery? No, certainly not. I can tell you it's there, though.
And it's great. Peg has that energy level.
That one.
It's just great to be around. He likes to do that. Like, she has that personality. She has that energy level. He thinks she's a badass. They hit it off early. Plus, they connect on that emotional level. Which
That
one?
one.
That one. He likes that she is comfortable in her own skin, and he finds that captivating. Seeing Peg with her daughter also made him understand how much love is there, I guess, with her daughter. He says, I feel her spirit. And he knows that it's going to be tough for him to make this decision. I think we have a clip of him weighing his options.
They're both great women, and both make me feel great. And it's going to be very hard, very hard. Got to make a decision. It's like razor thin. I mean,
Yeah,
It's great, and it's razor thin.
they're both great. I mean, it would be nice if one of them was just good and made him feel good, but instead they're both great. And that's where it becomes hard to make that kind of judgment call.
It's so true.
Jesse brings up that Mel hasn't told either woman that he's in love or falling in love. And he says this in a way that felt like he's sort of gearing up for a reprimand. He's like, I couldn't help but notice. I couldn't help but notice that you left your dishes in the sink again overnight. I thought we had talked about that. He's like, I couldn't help but notice that you haven't done kind of like your one job of expressing your feelings to
And
these
Mel is
women.
like, you're right, and I won't be.
Yeah, he's like, I won't be doing that. I don't want to use the word lightly. I don't want to change my mind. This is the second lead, or just any lead after the first lead, basically. But it's the second lead pitfall where Gary has told three women he loved them. Then he told two of them, JK, I'm sending you home. And then he married the last one and then had a
Decided he
horrible
hated her.
divorce and then wrote a book about how he picked her by default and he never really liked her that much to begin with. So, like, I can see not wanting to sort of follow in that path.
Mel's like, I've done some research, and what I'm getting is do the opposite.
Yeah.
But what he's missed is that you still have to say some words that describe some emotions, even if you're not
Right.
saying, I am in love with you, which is what Jesse is there basically to beg him to do. He's like, you know, you are allowed to talk about feelings that
Yeah.
aren't love.
This is what all of the leads used to do before all of the men became like emotionally incontinent and started telling all of their
Right.
top few women that they loved them. They used to come up with other ways to be like, I'm starting to fall for you. Like, I can see a future with you and it seems amazing. Like, there are all these ways. If you've ever dated, maybe you've started to express feelings for someone you're seeing before you reach that L-bomb point. And Mel is just like, I'm not going to say I love you, so I really don't know what you want from me here. And what Mel says, again, is, I feel great about them. And
Deep.
Jesse's like, okay, okay, great. He says he's not going to push it when it comes to expressing feelings about his final two. That's just who he is.
We know. Sorry.
Jesse's like, you're here on performance review right now, and I'm trying to tell you that you need to express something for them other than great.
And Mel is like, well, unfortunately, you've already given me the
Yeah.
job. No
Yeah.
take backsies. We're here. It's the end.
You wanted the Mel Owens experience. Well, baby, here it is. Mel tells the camera that the word love is heavy and loaded and has tons of meaning and can be misinterpreted. He's only been in love once, and it was with his ex-wife, and he got his heart broken.
I've never seen someone have such a negative association with love.
I think even the biggest problem with saying love is that it won't be misinterpreted. He's like, what if I tell them that I love them and then they think that I love them? That would be difficult. This is a man who has not worked through the trauma of his divorce. And I think it's a big trauma. A lot of the women are still dealing with their own fears and anxieties around finding love again after divorce, which is completely fair. But he has not gotten to the point where he can once again even think of love as being just sort of positive.
Right.
Like something to go for, something to hope for. He says he won't tell someone he loves them just to say it, but his feelings for Cindy and Peg are on a very emotional and deeper level.
What are the feelings? What are the feelings, Mel? They're emotional and deeper.
Feelings of emotional. He knows it's now or never to express those feelings, and it seems like he is opting for never.
Meanwhile, the women are feeling optimistic but nervous. We see Peg getting ready in her room in a sky blue dress with white florals, very Reformation coded. She'd love to be engaged by the end of the week, but it's hard to take that risk because, obviously, because he won't tell her, she has no idea how Mel feels about her. Cindy, similarly, is like, my heart's racing. I'm falling in love with Mel. But he refuses to open up.
Yeah, the women are all just like, will he tell me anything about how he feels at all this week? Can't wait to see. Peg's date is up first, and she says that after last week, she knows he fits in with her family, and seeing him with them really deepened her feelings. But she needs someone who can communicate what they're feeling, what they want, and what they need. And she's not sure if Mel is able to go there. No one is. No one has seen this from Mel. Mel, meanwhile, is also worried that sometimes Peg is guarded, and he hopes she can lower her tough exterior.
I was like, is he projecting here?
I think that he is not completely wrong in the sense that Peg puts up a very, happy, cheery front.
Sure.
On her hometown date, her daughter's, emotional and trying to express her concerns, and Peg's just like, I feel good. Everything's great. It's fine. And you have to think that there is a layer of vulnerability behind that she is kind of protecting, right? The thing is that she is giving Mel a lot more than he's giving her.
Well, right. That's where my instinct of he is projecting occurred. I'm like, how much do you want her to give?
Right.
Because people keep giving you a lot and you are just stonewalling
Right.
them.
If you want her to lower her happy clappy protection around herself, then you need to lower the protection that is preventing you from saying anything warmer to her than I like you. You're great. You first. So she meets him outside. She's now wearing a sort of sporty chic outfit with white sneakers and a white skirt and a red tube top. And he rolls up in an ATV. He is strapped in. He is helmeted up. Safety first.
Mel is guarded in all respects. We very much learn this episode.
I mean, listen, football players quite famously wear their safety gear. Yeah, they're wearing those helmets and the shoulder pads.
No, to be clear, I respect it. It's just so funny because he rolls up very gently and he's strapped into hell.
I mean, the safety consciousness continues because as they get going, Mel is sort of gently rolling the dune buggy over small bumps and ruts. I'm calculating this at perhaps 15 miles per hour.
We have a little clip of this.
Oh my God, this dune buggy is going so slow. Woohoo! And I'm like, go faster! Don't be no grandpa. Put the pedal to the metal, man. I'm used to being in control. I'm used to, just doing what I want to do when I want to do it. It's been a learning curve to allow somebody else to take that lead and to trust that person. Woo! I just can't wait till he gets done driving so I can have my turn. I will behave, I promise.
Oh, my favorite thing is her just being like, woo, yeah.
I know.
Go, yeah.
I would describe this as a dutiful woohoo. Like, she is trying to make it seem like she is feeling the woohoo, but she is not.
They're going at like about the speed that one of those life-size toy cars that you put like a baby in can like go around your house.
That is a safe speed for a toddler or Mel. This would be me in a dune buggy. So, I understand, but Peg is an adventurous lady, okay? She didn't come here to gently roll over ruts in this dune buggy.
I kind of do love this contrast between Mel and his final two. Like, he is so cautious and both of them are not.
Yeah, like he is never the one who is being more bold or into the adrenaline portion of the date, actually.
Certainly not. Peg gets behind the wheel and she's like revving the engine, gunning it. She's like, hell yeah, finally. Mel admits in the moment that it makes him a little nervous as she whips around the turns, but he says she does make him feel safe because she's a safety person. She literally has spent her life saving other people's lives.
If it wasn't safe, would she put them in a position to have someone like her called out to save their lives? I don't think so. Like, she knows what she's doing.
But it's this portion of the date that I started to feel, which I've felt before, that really Mel feels like a human person around Peg. Like, he loosens up. I do think he's correct that she does make him feel safe, not just physically, but perhaps emotionally. He says to the cameras, not to Peg, obviously. He would,
God forbid.
God
what if she knew how he felt?
He says, I'm along for the ride. Peg is perfect for me. She's my style. When her hair is curly and the wind is hitting it, some sweat on her, it doesn't get any better. I was like, he's obsessed with her.
I was like,
a rave.
This is like couch jumping for Mel. Yeah. I didn't know he was capable of this. And it's a very the description to me is also very sort of like sexy and romantic. Like that he sees her in this sort of sexy romantic light, I think is very sweet.
He says he's all in, which is huge. And that she, quote, has charisma, passion, and love for life that is captivating to him. I was like, damn, he's down bad for Peg.
He's down bad. Yeah, like I feel like the way that the kinds of relationships he has with Peg and Cindy are different, and I have thought that the relationship with Cindy is something that he is more drawn to romantically, but he just seems so much more relaxed, confident, just like in his element with Peg. She really brings that out of him. They sit and have some champagne on a bench and look at the water, and Peg tells him that her family really liked him. She says, you passed the test from Dakota. Mel seems skeptical, as am I, because we saw them have a conversation where Dakota
it was bad.
Where Dakota was clearly like, I don't know about this, Mom. And Peg was like, so you agree? You think he's really great? I get the sense that he didn't pass the test and Peg is just breezing right by past that. Peg tells him that she was the older sister. She was always the protector in the family and in her work. And then she says the only place where it doesn't work is relationships. She says, I can't fix and rescue in relationships. I've tried. It didn't work.
Oof, I bet she has.
Yeah. You can't fix and rescue a man,
No.
he has to come to you sort of on your level.
Or he at least has to fix himself while you're like in the vicinity of him.
In her in the moment, Peg says she's scared to have her heart broken again, and she's hoping Mel can provide a safe space for her to open up. I'm a little concerned by this because Mel does seem like he needs a little fixing in the sense that he does have this clearly like this deep terror of relationships now, and he doesn't quite know how to date around this sort of pain and fear that he has. And I feel like their dynamic could easily fall into Peg being the one trying to like keep things fun and happy and spicy for them so that he doesn't get like freaked out.
Yeah. Yeah. That is the kind of thing that could potentially play out, like if they leave the show together.
Yeah. She tells Mel it's been a slow burn, and the deeper she loves, the deeper she gets hurt, which is normal, I think. Just kind of how it works. And she says she hadn't expected to feel how she felt with him. And he says, likewise, which is one of the strongest things he'll say. Like, if you say something to him that isn't too strong, like, I love you, then he can say it back to you without having to actually say it. You know, he can just be like, ditto. It's like, isn't that just as good as if I said it myself?
And here's what happens. We have a clip. When Peg tries to get Mel to say a little more than likewise.
So how's this thing going with us? Good?
Good.
How you feeling about it?
Good.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay.
How's the dune buggy?
It was fun.
You know,
He deflects, you know, and I don't know if it's because of all of the outside stuff. And I have a little bit of a concern. Is it something that he's not emotionally available, or he's just being guarded?
The look on her face when he asks her about the dune buggy, she looks flabbergasted. No
Abject
part of her
horror.
was expecting that pivot.
She's like, what? She's like, sir, no, we were talking about us. And he's like, that dune buggy. Good?
Yeah. It's like you sit down for a serious conversation with your partner about your relationship, and you're like, how are you feeling about us? And he's like, good. How are you feeling about the lunch we had earlier? No, that's not part of the same conversation.
God. Mel is just like, emotion, run.
Yeah. And there is a sense too that I get from him in these moments where he's sort of like, I'm saying it's good. So like, this is
Move
weird.
along.
Like, why are you still asking me about it? It's bizarre. Like, I said good, and I'm saying good again. Let's talk about something else. Peg jokes that she's excited to meet his sons and get the full download on Mel. And he's like, don't believe everything you hear. Haha. And they end on a good note, even though he did not give her any of the answers she asked for. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll talk about the night date, and we will get into his date with Cindy.
And we are back. And it's time for Peg and Mel's night date. Peg puts on a gorgeous dress with big pink florals. They dance to some steel drums before having a little dinner on the beach. And Peg reflects on how she has indeed, as Mel observed, had her armor up. And she wants Mel to be open and vulnerable before they go to the fantasy suite.
Peg tells Mel as they sit down that this journey has been just 1,000 times better than she's expected. And they agree that just in life, you don't know what you're going to get. And he's like, and I got a lovely woman, right? And I'm so happy. I'm lucky that you're here. And she's like, yeah, absolutely.
She's like, well, you didn't say great. So I love that.
Lovely. Peg says they mesh well and she can see them working out really well, which surprises her. And Mel is like, why? And Peg says she just wasn't expecting it. I'm like, Mel, you won't tell her anything specific about the relationship. And you want her to explain why you think that you'll mesh well in the future. Like, why don't you have any thoughts about whether you'll mesh well in the future?
No, he doesn't have any thoughts.
I think he's
many.
I think he's also kind of like resting on the laurels of having come up with an affirmative compliment without having been prompted. He's like, I should tell her that she's a lovely woman and I'm lucky that she's here. Oh, I did. And it went amazing.
He's like,
fantastic.
I did it.
This
Wow,
is what
go
Jesse
Mel.
wanted me to do. And I'm really doing it.
And I love this next part of their conversation because Peg is just she really just does seem so completely herself. And she's like quite honest. She says she just didn't think that she maybe ever wanted to get married again. She's 1,000% self-sufficient, but meeting Mel has made her feel like, maybe it would be kind of cool to get married again. And then she's like, you'd have to sign a prenup, of course, because you ain't getting my shit. I loved this. Respect. And Mel is into it. He's laughing and laughing. He's like, yes, deservedly so. Like,
She's worked hard for all of that with her
yeah.
57 careers and hobbies. I do feel like that's one of the reasons that Peg has actually succeeded on the show. A lot of the women do come in with this sense that, like, they're putting, like, their hearts and lives in Mel's hands, and they kind of need this.
Yes.
And that also
Peg,
might lead them to wanna, like, shape how they're behaving to, like, impress him or be what he needs. And Peg is just, like, being what Peg needs and
she's like,
doing
this
what
is
Peg
who I
likes.
am. This is what I want. Oh, look, the thing that I want maybe has changed. I'm going to express it to you. And there's like an ease there that you can feel Mel feeding off of. And he clearly really needs that because he's
Yeah.
so tightly wound.
And in one sense, I love that because I'm like, yeah, you don't need this man. That allows you to kind of be yourself fully, to enjoy the experience together, not be putting so much pressure on it. And also, I'm like, is Mel responding to this partly because he is like so terrified to owe anything to a woman or have any obligations to a female partner again because he is still just like so petrified of commitment.
Possibly.
So finally, she asks how he's feeling about us. And Mel pauses and says, I'm thankful that you've given me the opportunity to show you how I feel about you. I really like you a lot. It's almost too good to be true. I love being around you. I love the way you talk to me and the way you make me feel. Of course, you're beautiful, and I like your energy and your spirit. This took me by surprise. He like backed himself into a proper response to this.
Incredible job, Mel.
I
You
was
get a
so
gold star.
I was so thrown by, I'm thankful that you've given me the opportunity. I was like, oh
He's
no.
working himself up, and then he's like, okay, I'm flowing. The words
Got
are
it.
flowing.
I
This was a
love
good response.
being around you. This was good. This is the sort of thing that he should be able to say to them more. Like he should have been able to say this to her maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe by now he should be a little further, but you know what? You can't rush feelings, and at least he's expressing something. And Peg is like, I do feel it from you. Like when you look at me, I feel those things. Suddenly it begins to violently thunder and lightning overhead. And he's like, is that a sign? But they kind of laugh it off and they keep talking about how excited they are about each other. They kiss. They have a lovely time. It doesn't seem to start pouring on them. And after this, in Her in the Moment, she says it's scary to let Mel see in her heart who she really is. But her fears are going away, and she's just going to risk and have an open heart and mind. They get the fantasy suite card, and of course, she has to hold the pillar candle like right up to the paper.
I think I would have to
decipher.
also.
It's very
very
dark.
dark.
And they decide to go for it. So they head to a rose petal and candle strewn suite. Mel, in his In the Moment, is raving more about how lucky he is and how funny and wonderful Peg is and how he always thought there was more inside her. He can finally see her exterior veneer softening. And he feels like when she looks at him, it's love. I do feel like there is this thing that maybe part of what bothers me about how Mel conceives of the process of this is that when it's Peg waiting to show him more, he's like, she's softening. Her exterior veneer is finally like she's been so guarded. When it's him, he's not like, I've been so guarded. My
No.
armor's up. He's like, I'm just not ready.
That's just how it is, and that's how I am, and that's just what it is.
Just what it is. There's no like, I need to be more vulnerable if I want her to be more vulnerable. He's like, well, I will be vulnerable when I damn well feel like it. And I'm just going to observe until then
He's
how
like,
much
"That's
her
the
exterior
woman's
is softening.
job."
Yeah.
But I do think that they have a dynamic that feels very like human and easy. And that to me is a real contrast to how Mel is 90% of the time.
Yeah. So they go in. Outside their suite, a steel drum group serenades them with the Casey and the Sunshine Band arrangement. They have champagne, they make out, and then they close the door to the cameras, and Peg jokes, "Don't come a knockin' if it's a rockin'."
And then she's like, just kidding, just kidding.
And Mel's like, "Finally." And the next morning, turtles are mating on the sand. Bees are presumably mating. I assume that's what the bees are doing as well. And Peg's sandals and swimsuit are strewn over the floor alongside Mel's beige UFOs. And they're in bed. She's in like a bathrobe. He's just shirtless in his pants. And he's like, "Why'd you go to bed so early last night?" And she's like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "I'm just kidding. Shh, don't give away the secrets. That's definitely off camera."
It's cute.
Like he's doing a little skit to be
Yeah.
like, "There's nothing
He's
to
like,
see
"Wink,
here."
wink.
Wink, wink. We didn't even touch or anything. That's just for us to know. No one else is gonna know. I was struck by how aware they seem of the cameras.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that it's but, like, we've seen a million of these. Obviously, it must be weird to have an overnight date. Often there's some sort of, like, really personal conversation or sex or both, and then cameras show up bright and early to film you in a state of semi-undress in bed together, right? It's
And
very
you're also
weird.
so tired.
Right. But usually, I do not feel like they seem this aware of the camera. It's almost like they're giving a little explanation to the cameras, like the cameras are their mom and dad or something, and they're like, "Well, no, we had a nice time. It was really nice. Like, just
And it was
normal."
at the Galley Bay Resort and Spa,
Yeah.
crucially. That is where we
The
had that nice
beautiful
time.
Galley Bay Resort and Spa, and they got to have the conversations that they needed during their very nice night that we're not going to know about because that's for off camera. In the moment, Mel says the night exceeded his expectations. He says, "Peg and I connect on a whole bunch of different levels." I know what that means. Mel, say no more. He feels closer to her, and he says, "We're quite compatible." Listen,
Mm.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
He brings her breakfast in bed, and they talk about how they've had some similar life experiences. And Peg says that at their age, the heavy lifting is done, and what's left is just to enjoy life. And that sounds lovely.
Yeah. They also seem to be talking about how they've exchanged presumably like divorce stories. And she's
Oh,
like, "My
yeah.
story was better than yours." And he's like, "Yeah, mine is like boring compared to yours."
I actually kind of loved that. I was like, oh, Peg has been through some shit. And then Mel was like, "I married a younger woman." And then she came to me and was like, "I don't love you anymore."
Yeah. It's
He's
not
like, "That's all you
fun,
got?"
but yeah.
Not fun, but not like an exciting story.
Yeah. She says that she likes him more after this time together. And Mel says, "I'm a likable guy."
And I will say, Mel, when you are with Peg, it is the most likable.
Yeah.
that
Peg
you
and I
are.
agree. The more that Peg is around Mel, the more likable he is. Peg says after this that all of her concerns were answered. He's emotionally intelligent. It's been years since she felt this way about someone. This journey has given her hope again, but she knows that she needs to take it one step at a time because there's still another woman here.
I'm like, do you think the cameras turn off and Mel is suddenly just like open, real, there? And Peg was like, oh shit.
I have to assume that he is literally petrified of the cameras.
Yeah.
And another reason why the podcast incident might have been a good time to recast is because I think that it made him tense up because he did not
terrified
realize
to say the wrong thing.
I don't think he realized before that podcast what the reaction might be like if he said the wrong thing. And to have that backlash right as he was going into filming, I think has made him extra clamped up.
That's such a good point. I didn't consider that, but you're so right.
Yeah. And also, like, the things that he said, also, I think were good reasons to recast him.
Right.
So,
yeah.
like,
No, also that.
Meanwhile, Cindy is walking down the beach in a filmy blue cover-up and bikini. This is the longest she's been apart from Mel. She's imagined him getting down on one knee a million times, but she knows Peg is somewhere on the island too, and every minute she's not with Mel, she wonders if Mel is with Peg. And probably for a lot of those minutes, he is, because they're having an overnight date. Time for Cindy's overnight. She is waiting for him in a hot pink cover-up now over a bikini. She has a lot of these, like, sort of
They're
filmy
great.
cover-ups. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
These
of the,
like gauzy form fitting cover up. Gorgeous.
I liked both of the women's beachy looks a lot. Like Peg is a little more like Reformation style, like these sort of trim spaghetti strap dresses with florals. And Cindy's doing more of these like big filmy kind of confections. And I like it all.
Yeah, I agree.
Mel drives up in an orange Jeep, telling us that his feelings for Cindy are strong. And every time he's with her, the feelings are stronger. He feels like she will be perfect for him. There's a chemistry and energy with her. Cindy tells us that she's falling in love. She has no idea if he feels the same. She's hoping to learn about his intentions and see if he has plans for them for the future. And then she says, every day is an adventure with Mel. And I'm like, no, that's being on the Golden Bachelor. That's the part that's an adventure. So what they're doing is they're going out on a boat and swimming with stingrays. And Mel explains that she always makes him feel comfortable. So he's excited to see how she reacts to being outside of her comfort zone.
Unfortunately for him, she's right in her comfort zone, and it's Mel who is yet again out of his comfort zone.
Right. He asked the question, it's like, have you ever done this before? And usually it's like this exotic date where they're rappelling down a cliff or they're swimming with stingrays. And they're like, no, of course not. And Cindy's like, oh, yeah, I have. It was great. I loved it.
I loved this so much.
And to his credit, Mel very fluidly pivots to asking her what it was like give me a little insight. She's like, stingrays are like puppies. They swim around with these little wings like angels. I was like, all I know about stingrays really has to do with Steve Irwin. So I'm stressed.
And it's dark.
It's not good. Like it makes me scared. But I'm sure that they take the tourists to the very friendly puppy-like stingrays. Mel is not a fan though. The minute that he sees the stingrays, he is sweating bullets.
We have a clip.
There they are.
Oh, these things are huge. I thought they're like this big, like a plate. We're here at Stingray Bay, and they're a little bit bigger than I thought they were. They're like prehistoric sized monsters.
Obsessed. He's like, I thought they were plate sized, and instead they're monster sized, and I'm a little nervous.
The two sizes.
Yeah.
I do think that like a stingray, like many things, can come in a variety of sizes
These
depending
ones
on
are
ages
large.
and so forth. They're pretty big. I've never swum with a stingray. I have swum with a manta ray, so they didn't seem that huge to me. But if you're
I haven't
expecting
done either.
if you're expecting a plate size,
Like a standard dinner plate, and
It's not-
they're not standard dinner plate
No.
size.
and he's very stressed out by this. And Cindy is really surprised.
I
That-
felt like she was a little turned off, to be
I
honest.
I definitely felt like she was a little turned off. She's like, this 6'2" guy is like nervous around stingrays. Like, he's
She's
so
like, and
timid.
horses?
She describes him as timid. Like, you
I
can
mean-
be tall and afraid. Like, a stingray
Yeah.
can take out a fully grown adult man. We know this. Like, it stresses me out.
You could still be thrown off a horse if you're a full grown man. Like,
Yeah.
that could be deadly.
In some ways, you're going to fall more heavily if you're a full grown man.
Exactly.
You know?
Cindy just like is not into it though. She's just like way ahead, like waiting with the stingrays, feeding them, and Mel is like in terror.
Cindy's doing her best. She's like, I have to put a good foot forward with Mel. I really wonder how she would react to this kind of thing a few years in, because just underneath the surface, she seems a little bit, turned off by this. And Mel is like trying to ease himself into it. He's like, I'm open-minded, but not to stingrays. Look, I'm from the city, okay? I draw the line at stingrays. He refuses to touch them. He's like, I'm letting them do their thing. And Cindy's like, I respect that. She does not respect that. She will allow it, but she doesn't respect it. She and the instructor or like the guide are trying to coach him. She's like, I'm just going to do a Mel and coach him up a little bit. The guide is like, no one on our tours has ever been stung in 24 years. It's not going to happen.
And Mel's like, I don't care. All I know is I won't be the first.
There's always a first time.
Yeah.
She brings up in the moment that he was also afraid of the horses because their previous date was a horseback riding date.
She's
She's
like,
an
he's a
experienced rider
man.
and he's
He's
not.
a big football man, and he's afraid, and I don't like that. Like, that
Yeah.
is very much the vibe I'm getting from this.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, first the horses, now this. Like, he's so timid about these things that you wouldn't expect it. I mean, look at him. And it seems like she has like kind of put him into this sort of category of man in her mind that's like the big, strong, manly man. He plays football, he's tall. She won't have to worry about taking care of him in these moments. He's going to take care of her so she can be, and I'm going to say it, in her feminine. She doesn't say it,
Thank God.
but I was getting a little bit of like,
That
he's
is the
not being in
vibe.
his masculine right now. She says that she hopes he can see little old me participating and see that they're safe and they're in good hands.
And he's like, no, I'm just gonna pass.
He finally does, with Cindy's example and encouragement, touch a stingray. He is surrounded by support, and the guide helps him sort of gently touch one stingray. And he's like, Cindy really made me feel safe enough to do that. I thought it was so interesting seeing Mel on 2 dates that do kind of puncture this sort of like men play football and they're tough and strong and they're not afraid of anything.
It made me like him more, honestly.
Yeah, I was like, he feels comfortable driving slow. And letting Peg be the one to drive fast.
Yeah,
He
I kinda
feels
loved it.
comfortable. He feels comfortable letting Cindy be the one to help him get to feel comfortable with the stingrays. Like, it's not a dick measuring contest. I liked that.
Me too. This episode is probably the most I've liked Mel the whole season.
And I think that highlighted one of the things that I like about the relationship with Peg is that actually feels like they're just like two friends who are hanging out, and she's kind of like, drive faster, grandpa. But she's like,
Yeah.
as long as I get to drive fast and he's cool with it, that's kind of all that matters.
Right.
And
And he's
she
like,
actually
"Ooh,
likes being the one to
this
drive
makes me
fast.
nervous, but I'll let her go for it. And I'll feel safe. She'll make me feel safe.
Right. And she's kind of like, I like being the one to take the lead a little bit. And he is excited by that aspect of her. And with Cindy, there's this sense that like Cindy wants them to maybe fit into a more traditional male-female dynamic. And she's like, I'm going to be Mel by coaching him to be comfortable around the scary thing. But it seems like that would be the dynamic a lot because he is timid around a lot of things. She seems more adventurous. So Mel tells Cindy that he missed her after hometowns, and she says he's always been so generous and charismatic. It was nice to see those qualities with her family during hometowns. Do you think that her family found him charismatic?
I think her daughters might have some follow-up questions, but
The daughters have a lot of questions. Mel says, I like you a lot, so that's a big deal.
This is his line with Cindy. He's like, I like you a lot.
A lot. Well, you know what it's probably subconsciously reminding you of? Juan Pablo's proposal to Nikki.
Yes.
I like you a lot. I have a ring in my pocket.
You won't be getting it.
And he says it's still a process. The day date, clearly, he is not prepared to come. Like, both of the women at some point on the day date are, like, wanting some expression of his feelings. And he's kind of like,
He's like,
not right now.
Maybe you'll get some of that as a little treat at night.
He's like, I like you, but that's for later. Let's focus on stingrays. Cindy brings up that they don't have that much more time left. And she's learned a lot about herself and about Mel. She says that she hopes that she learns more about him later. And Mel says, I'm an open person.
Lying through your teeth here, Mel.
I'm open to what?
Yeah, you've never seen someone more closed off.
I guess he did ultimately agree to touch the stingray, so I have to hand it to him there. Cindy hopes that she can get some reassurances that Mel is feeling the same way she is tonight. Because what she's feeling for Mel is a massive crescendo, and she's confident that Mel is feeling it too. She could be engaged at the end of this week, and she's so ready.
I love that projection of confidence, Cindy.
Yeah. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Cindy's night date.
And we are back, and it's time for Cindy's night date. We get some B-roll footage of her holding up her beautiful black gown. as she's in her robe, peering into the full-length mirror in her room. She thinks that their day together was magical. She never thought she'd be falling for Mel. She arrived on this journey not believing that it was even possible to think about a proposal. But now she's kind of there, and her toes are right on the edge. And she is like, okay, I need something from Mel, and it needs to happen tonight. Tonight's the night to see what Mel wants, she says. I can't wait to hear how he feels. She's like manifesting.
Yeah. And she's like, I will be hearing how he feels
I will.
tonight. There is something just so weird to me about the way that they do fantasy suites and last chance dates with the same group of women. Like, to me, it creates the sense that this is the finale already.
Well, it is kind of.
It creates a lingering extension of that time where it's like you're down to the final two. Who are you going to choose? That dramatically, I think, and for the women is probably a little bit confusing. It's like there's only one other woman left. It's time to choose. But it's like, no, we're doing fantasy suites and then we'll do more dates and then I'll choose. The women are like, no, you're going to tell me this week. So Mel,
if there are only going to be 3 of them, in a way, maybe it would make sense to just not have hometowns be an elimination week. I don't know.
right. Like, I don't fully understand the point of cutting it down to, I guess, just because of how short the
Time?
episodes are.
Yeah, but if you're going to do a 2-hour finale, I think you could still squeeze in 3 overnights. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess we'll see how this all plays out.
I just find it awkward that you're repeating between fantasy suites and last chance dates the same 2 women. That's not the pace of how these things usually go, and it's like there's no progression this week. Mel greets Cindy on the dock and says that she looks beautiful. He tells the camera that Cindy was the first woman out of the limousine, and it's just been building since then, which is
that
good.
is literally true.
Yeah. Sometimes they're like, oh, like we hit a snag, like we haven't progressed
That's
as much.
true. It's been flat since then. He doesn't feel that way about Cindy.
No,
In
it's
fact,
been
he
growing.
thinks Cindy is loving, caring, and a person he could see a life with after this. But right now, he's undecided.
It just feels, I wonder if she actually was second. It seems like it. I wonder if having had such a good overnight with Peg, he is in his head,
I think so.
or if he genuinely just, Peg is such a front runner, because he is clearly very tense and not as effusive about Cindy.
I
at
feel
this
like
point.
he is hedging. And I wonder if there's a possibility that in his mind, I mean, Gary said that the overnights were where things really became clear for him.
Mhm.
So I could see Mel kind of, even if he didn't share it, having a decision in his head and thinking it's probably going to be Peg. So I need to be very cautious with Cindy.
Yeah, it seems possible because at this point he's saying about Peg, like, all of these, like, intense things about how much he loves being with her, all of her specific qualities. And with Cindy, he's like, she is loving and caring. She is a person.
And also,
Who
it's
Peg
still a
is-
process.
and
No
it's-
guarantees.
Right now, he is undecided, he says, between the 2 of them. And the fantasy suite provides some necessary off-camera time, which he describes as, quote, an important time where you can share information.
So
Like,
true.
it's like the time after a car crash, when you're with the other driver. It's an important time where you can share information.
It's just a real nice exchange.
He likes Cindy a lot. He always enjoys his time with her. Yeah, just like tepid, generic compared to his thoughts about Peg at this point. He thanks her for taking care of him with the stingrays, and she says no one needed to take care of him, which is not
Please,
true. It feels like
Cindy.
she needs that to be true.
Yeah.
She's like, you
Cindy.
don't need me. You're strong. You're
Cindy, he's
Powerful.
thanking you for a reason.
because he needed you.
Yeah.
He, instead of avoiding the fact that 2 of them are left in the process, he and Cindy end up talking about it head on. They talk about the fact that there is a Peg involved. And Cindy is like, it's very unusual to be in a situation where there is another woman. And she asks Mel if there's something specific that he's considering between the 2 of them. And he's like, no, it's just I've never been in the position before. So I'm just working it out in my head and my heart. And I know time is coming to an end, but that's just the truth.
I wouldn't feel amazing if this was the response I got. And he's like clearly realizing that because he follows this with Cindy, I love spending time with you. You're so sharing, caring, smart, and beautiful. I was like, is this Miss Rachel?
Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
And so you obviously, if you have one, you have the other.
But she likes this. She's like, ooh, what else? He laughs and they both laugh. And he's like, you're energetic, you're spiritual.
Those are literally Peg and Debbie's adjectives. Peg, I love her energy. Debbie, I love her spirituality. He's like, no, but Cindy
like
has
scrambling.
Those too. He's like, what other adjectives do I have? Cindy says, putting aside the other person, where does he see potential for the two of them? And Mel says, no matter what, a relationship would have to develop over time. Which, like, yes.
Yeah.
Cindy looks dissatisfied, and he's like, what? You don't? What's wrong?
Like, she wants reassurance, and he is not really giving that to her.
Well, again, this is a moment where it's like, Mel, there's a way to say, here is what I see as a possibility for us without saying that's definitely what will happen.
Right.
And it's a cop-out to like, obviously, you never know how it's going to play out. How many conversations have we had with our partners about what the future could look like together? And then it plays out differently, I picked out 2 names for kids with Greg like a decade ago. And did we get to use both of them? No. These things change,
Exactly.
Like, you end up living in a place you don't expect, or things take winding paths. But you can still make those plans or talk about what you envision.
And it's that discomfort he has that makes me think that on some level he kind of knows it's not Cindy.
Or like, yeah, I that might
I
be
don't
it.
know.
I'm also like, I feel like she's asking slightly different questions than Peg.
Oh, I think she is really challenging him in these moments,
Mhm.
which, to be honest, I kind of enjoy. Like, she is quite direct. It feels like Cindy has been very patient, and she's finally like, I need some answers to some questions.
Yeah.
And I'm going to push on them.
And I think that's completely valid. I think that what I see with the Peg date is that she is showing him herself. She's like, here's what I see for us. Here's what I saw for myself and how that's changing now. Here's something I would need. And then she's like, how do you feel about me? And he tells her how he feels about her. With Cindy, she sort of starts by being like, how do you feel about me? And then she goes on to like, and how do you see our life together? And I don't think that Mel actually, I think he would respond better if she was like, here's what I want.
See.
And then he could sort of nod along.
I think you're completely right. But at this point, she's annoyed.
Yeah, fair.
Right.
And like, I would be annoyed too. I think she's like doing her best to get a sense of what he sees for them without pressuring him to be like, you're the one. She's like, what can we talk about that would give me an indication of what our future could look like together?
And she
if
also
we end up
calls
together.
out, you haven't really asked me any questions.
Right.
Which I appreciated. She's like, I've been grappling with that, perhaps more than I've expressed. And she says that she feels he doesn't feel free with her to share where he's at or what's holding him back. And she's like, I hate to push you, but I would really like to know. Like, I have a few questions. And we have a clip of this part of the conversation.
Do you see a future with us? How are you feeling about us? How do you feel about me? For me, the chemistry with you is off the charts.
It's difficult. It just takes time. I'm going to make educated choices. I'm not going to take, the leap of faith, so to speak, and just go, okay, I think this is going to work out.
And I think that's what this process is to me, is a big old leap of faith.
But I'm smart enough to know that that's not how my life operates.
So you knew when you agreed to be the Golden Bachelor that this ended in a proposal. Is that not a leap of faith for you?
No, it didn't. It wasn't. You're searching for a partner. That's what it is, right? And if there's the partners at the end of the journey, there it is.
If the partner's there it is.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
I think
this is a fascinating insight into how he looked at the job of being Golden
Right. He
Bachelor.
basically just admitted that he has never had any intention of getting engaged at the end of this, which I think is perfectly normal and fine, but it is not the concept of the show. And normally they try to at least like kind of fake, like be like, oh yeah, maybe we'll see.
Right. Or, yeah.
He's like, no, I wasn't planning to propose at the end of this. I also thought it was funny how she's like, to me, I'm doing that. This is a leap of faith. And he's like, I'm smart enough to know that I shouldn't do a leap of faith. I'm like, so is Cindy smart enough?
He's like, you dummy. You think it's a leap of faith? Please.
I don't know. I'm so torn about this because I do respect that he doesn't want to make a huge mess like Gary did.
Same.
And I do think, obviously, we know he's right that the process is too quick for people to make really good decisions about their future in that
But
period of
also,
time.
even so, like, you don't have to rush to marry someone, or you don't even have to
Yeah.
rush to propose. But even just having a public relationship and making that kind of choice in this process, it is a leap of faith. Like, you are making choices inherently that could have big consequences without all the information. There is an element of faith inherent to doing this.
Of course. And I think that the other thing that gets me is that if you are smart enough to know what a risk this is, which I believe he is, and if you are trying to be careful, wouldn't you want to gather as much information and insight about the other person as possible? And over again, we see, and she calls it out here, that he is not really showing that much curiosity in these women and what their lives would look like together. And he's always just being like, no, I'm good. I feel good. Yeah, no, I'm good. There's nothing else I need to ask about. Okay, so like,
Or do we
what
think
are
he's just like, I'm saving all of this for the fantasy suite, Cindy?
Yeah, but like, there's nothing that you could explore
Ask
with
a
some
single
questions on camera.
question.
Come on,
He's like, nope, certainly not. And
or is
Cindy,
he just accustomed to not asking women questions on dates? Because a
mean,
lot of men,
so many men
are.
so many men are that way. So I would not be surprised. And he is like a boomer.
So she also asked Mel after this why he waited so long to get married the first time.
I kind of loved the boldness of this. She's just like, okay, fine. That was an inadequate answer. So going right along to my next question.
She seems to she's sort of starting to be like, I'm getting the sense that you are
Something's
not
wrong.
someone who is willing to commit on a normal timeline. Like, maybe I should have been concerned that you didn't get married until over 40 the first time around. And he kind of grasps his throat. He's a little uncomfortable. He's finally like, I don't know. It just wasn't the right time. I didn't want to rush into it and end up 2 divorces in after 15 years. And Cindy points out that he took his time and he used all his intuition and all his wisdom, and so did she. But 25 years later or so, they both still ended up divorced. And Mel says, but for 25 years, it did work. And I want to point out that it did not work for 25 years for Mel. It was like less than 20 based off of how old his wife is and when
Which,
his wedding
you know,
supposedly was. And when
It's still a very long time, but
The
it's
part-
not 25 years.
the like 5 years where the divorce was in process, that is not actually part of the marriage working.
I would agree
but-
with that.
Sure, fair enough. He's like, that's a real marriage. And I do agree with that. That is like, he made
Yes.
it work for a while. I'm uncomfortable judging Mel for getting married later in life, but I do think that it's like later in life, than some of the other,
25,
than a lot
yeah.
of people in his generation. Marriage, even now, the average age of first marriage is younger than like 42. And it's only gotten later over the last like 40 years, right? It's unusual in a certain sense for him to have gotten married after 40. I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't come up, partly because he then married someone who was like 22. But clearly none of them wanted to like press him too much on
And
that.
Cindy's like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I'm asking.
She's like, I need to know if this is actually a pattern and not just, oh, I didn't meet the right person until I was 40. And he, he's like, it worked for a while. It's not like you propose and then 6 months later you're like, "Oh, guys, I didn't really mean it."
And at this one, I was like, oh, he's terrified of being Gary.
Hey, Gary proposed and then very quickly got married and then, like, 6 months later said, "Guys, I
3
didn't really
months
mean
later.
it." Depending on whether you're going by the proposal or the wedding, I guess. Yeah, he's got a very clear guy he does not want to be in his head. But Cindy is clearly worried that he's going to just wait forever, like, that a lot of people do get engaged at the end of this process. He's just clearly just at the beginning of starting to see if they could have some sort of relationship at the end of this process, and she's like, "Oh my god, am I gonna be spending all of my golden years with a guy who is still making up his mind about whether he wants to be with me?" And he's like, it just has to develop over time. I don't know."
And Cindy's like, yes,
Ugh.
very insightful. Thank you.
She is saying very insightful in the sense that's like, now I have the damaging information that I need
She's like,
to
I
help
have
me.
insight into you now.
And it's not good insight, but I'm still glad I have it. He says he's just being truthful because he can tell that she doesn't mean this in a nice way. And then she's like, "No, I sincerely appreciate that." He says he likes her a lot and he doesn't know where it will head. In Her in the Moment, Cindy says that you don't get to this age without being hurt, and there's a natural instinct of protectiveness. So maybe he just doesn't want to get hurt again, then that's making him hesitate. She says Mel is a reserved man. He keeps things close to his chest, but it's not the time to seize up. She wonders if it's her, or if he's just closer to Peg, or if it's just who he is, and he's that way with both of them. But she wants to know that her partner is excited to move forward with her. So finally she says, "What do we do from here?" And he says, "If there's a will, there's a way." And she says, "That begs the question, is there a will?" We leave it here, but we know from a past preview that during this conversation, in this setting, she's going to be like, "I want my future partner to feel like he was struck by lightning and he can't live without me."
This is the moment that I started to believe that Cindy and Mel maybe will break up
I
on
don't
this
think
overnight.
I don't think she's making it to last chance dates the way things are going.
I really don't think so because we cut right to a preview for next week, a 2-hour season finale. Cindy thinks she and Mel are very well suited for each other. I want to note that this is in voiceover, and the ITM we do see, she is still in her fantasy suite gown. So the black dress.
Yeah.
Peg is feeling freedom and peace being 62, and she's just looking for someone who she can share that with. Mel needs to get out of his head. He wants his young sons to help him make this decision.
He's literally turning
He's
to his like
grasping around.
15-year-old and being like, "I need you to help me to make this decision." And his son is like, Okay.
He's like 19, Claire, okay? He's
Depends
a
on which
man.
son it is. I can't tell the difference. 19, 15, they all look like babies to me.
We also see that unnamed female relative and or family friend. Still don't know who she is. Mel goes to Peg and tells her that he wants to be transparent about his overnight date with Cindy. I
Dun,
think
dun,
they broke
dun.
up.
Yeah.
Cindy wants till death do us part. Mel wants me and you with someone. Peg is ready for her forever guy. And Mel doesn't know if it's gonna blow up.
I have to say,
dun.
everything about this screams Cindy walks after the overnight.
Yeah. And then I guess they just have to do a really long, like, will Mel propose thing?
Yeah, I think
Right? Like, what
it's-
is the tension gonna
what
be?
it seems like they're setting up is that he's gonna tell Peg that Cindy left, and he's like feeling, upset or like everything
still
has
doesn't
changed or
know.
whatever. But at some point, he's gonna say, "I want you and me, or me and you," to someone, and it's not gonna be at the proposal site. So it would make sense that he would only do that after the other person left. So he's gonna tell Peg then at some point, like, even though this is like throwing me for a loop, I still want to pursue what we have. And that's going to be, is he going to propose? Like,
I think
is he going to walk away alone? They've done that before.
Yeah.
I don't see a world in which Cindy is around by
Also, I'm like, this is a
proposal day.
2-hour finale. It's going to be a lengthy conversation with Cindy.
Well, I guess a lot of that is after the final rose.
Oh, true. Oh, right. Yeah, duh. You're right. The last hour is after the final rose.
Yeah, a 2-hour finale is really just like
Right. It's
a
usually
regular length
3-hour
episode,
finale.
and then after the final rose, yeah.
Okay, you're so right.
Yeah, they're
There's
just
not a
gonna
lot
zip
left.
right through this. Yeah.
Great. Honestly, I'm excited. Obviously, next week's recap, we will not get a screener of, so it will be coming a little later. We will be watching live with all of you.
Party.
And I'm excited. Claire, should we get to love to see it, hate to see it?
Let's do it. Let's start with hate to see it. I hate to see Mel's struggle to express warmth and feeling toward the two women who he is so close to potentially proposing to. When saying "I love you, let's get married" is off the table. Like, he doesn't know how else to express
There's nothing
affection.
else.
There's nothing else.
Also, hate to see Mel's just simply poor prospects as an influencer. He can't even get through like a promo line read for the tourism board of Antigua.
Yeah, you got to make it a little bit more natural if you want
How
people
will
to
he sell his
develop
UFOs?
that parasocial relationship with you. He's going to do like grid photo spreads only. He's going to do flat lays. Let's talk about love to see it.
There was actually a lot to love this episode.
I was surprised by, much like Peg and her feelings about Mel, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this episode. I've come to
Same.
expect very little. The women's beach looks, I loved. Obsessed.
Stunning. Also, love to see a really fun rapport and connection between Mel and Peg. Like, I'm buying it.
Yeah, a date that I almost wouldn't mind being along the ride with. Like, they seem like they're having a good time. Love to see Peg asking Mel for a prenup.
Go, girl.
Protect yourself.
I personally loved to see Mel taking a fashion risk this episode. He wears a rainbow ombre linen shirt on his date with Cindy. And I was like, yes, Mel, it's not gray. It's
like,
not gray. It's not ill-fitting. I'm
it's
so
like
proud
the
of you.
faintest rainbow. It's like almost pastel, but it's there.
It's there, Claire.
I also love to see Mel being strong enough to admit his fear of stingrays and of driving dune buggies fast, and like his comfort, nay, even excitement at letting the women show off how adventurous and brave they are and not feeling like threatened by that as a man.
We do love to see that. Also, love to see Cindy just being over it and giving no fucks and probing Mel for some real answers. Like, why did you wait so long to get married?
I know.
She just no longer cares, and I found it amusing.
I know. Honestly, that was maybe my favorite part of the episode. Love it when they actually get honest and Mel is not allowed to kind of sit in his vague, bland, I feel great and this is great statements. Like, let's get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, we got some honestly really interesting substantive discussions about the timeline of the process, the way they look at the process, the consequences of rushing into a marriage, the fears one might have about doing that after divorce. Yes, some real life experiences. That is why we come to this show. It only took the whole season.
Yeah. Hey, that's not fair. There's still one episode left. All right, let's get to our love, happiness, and fun rating out of 10 champagne toasts.
I don't know. I think this one was pretty high for me. I'm like, even when they're not having fun, I'm having fun. Like, Mel is uncomfortable because Cindy is grilling him. But, like, I think Cindy, in a way, is having fun, and I'm having fun.
I felt like the love, happiness, and fun rating on his first date was really high. That was
so
like
high.
That
was
was like
all three.
That if he had said "I love you" or even "I'm falling in love with you," I would give that a 10.
I agree.
Like, maybe I'm biased because this season has been so low across
We're
the
grading
board.
on a curve.
Listen, that's high. That's like a 9 for me. With Cindy, a little less love, a little less happiness, and a little less fun. But there was still like some excitement, some stingrays, some laughs. I think to me it averages out between a 6 and a 7.
I think I'm going between a 7 and an 8.
Whoa.
This one was higher for me than last week's episode.
I don't even remember what we rated last week.
7.
What?
I gotta go, yeah. at your insistence.
Oh, right, because it was Women Tell All.
Yeah.
That's why. No, I understand now because women are more fun.
The women love each other and they are fun.
Yeah. Okay. No, we can give it an 8 if you think. Yeah.
Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah. Fair enough. Our very scientific process revealed. And on that note, that's it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell for future episodes.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. Our production assistant is Tatiana Knies-Smith, who also edits our video. This episode was edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like the show, please follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, tell all your friends about our show and how great it is. Tell them that it has...
And also it has good.
And tell them it has that personality, you know? That one.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter, Rich Text, on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com.
I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at EmmaLadyRose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey, Eric Donnelly, Kate Rose, Moira Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Shook.
We'll be back soon.
Can you keep